Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome, welcome. We've got a snowy arena game here with two new civilizations coming in the upcoming Three Kingdoms DLC. We've got the Shu over in the east, and then we've got the Wu over here in the west. And we've got arena. The goal here was for us to kind of boom, like get a big economies and really test out kind of the late game. Because there's some things in the late game with these civilizations which are pretty ridiculous. So, we are going to speed up through the early stages because it's arena, and we're just going to talk bonuses. Here I am in the blue, playing as the Shu. That's got a ring to it, honestly. And this is an archer and siege civilization where lumberjacks generate food in addition to wood. That was something I had not tested yet, and I did feel a subtle increase of food as we go through this due to that. So that's their eco bonus. Archery unit technologies at the range and blacksmith cost 25% less. So that's quite nice for an archer civ. Siege weapons and siege warships, which we won't see here, move 10% and 15% faster in castle and imp. So siege is a little bit more mobile. Got it. Their unique unit, the White Feather Guard, is an infantry unit. Very strong unit out of their castle. They also have the War Chariot, which is a siege weapon. They also have a hero. That's right, a hero. There's a look at him. This hero, Liu Bei. This hero is 500 food, 500 gold, and has an area of effect bonus, and it will heal all units in the nearby radius. Now, I'm going to skip past that for now. The hero thing is new. We've never had heroes in ranked or multiplayer before. That has been a controversial thing. We're going to move to the other bonuses. I could talk about heroes later. Unique tech. Coiled Serpent Array, Spearman Line, and White Feather Guards gain additional HP when near each other. So you just kind of have to be, like, near each other. Okay, got it. Bolt Magazine, Archer Line, War Chariots, and Luchuans fire additional projectiles. That applies to a bunch of different units, but the Luchuans is more Navy focus. If I'm not wrong, now I'm second-guessing myself. And, you know, that could just make them very good archer civ here, right? Very good archers. You've got the cheap techs. You've got the additional bolts. And then you also have the team bonus of foot archers plus 2 line of sight on top of it. Not bad. Nilly and I are just going fast castle here, by the way. On Nilly's side, he's an infantry and naval civilization. And military production buildings and docks provide plus 65 food. That's interesting. Obviously, there won't be any docks here. I think that's a bonus that makes this a very good on water. But that should be pretty nice. The extra little food boost. Infantry regenerates HP per minute in feudal castle and imp. So their infantry is consistently regenerating, which can be very nice, especially if there's gaps in when you're engaging. Jian Swordsman is one of their unique infantry units. You could start making that in the Castle Age, and it has +2 attack. The Jian Swordsman and their unique unit, cavalry unit, the... Oh, God. Hey Guang? Hey Guang? Gets +2 attack in the Imperial Age. Careening Dry Dock is available 1 age earlier. Cost and Research Town is discounted, so again, this is probably really good on Navy, with Navy. Their Fire Archers, their unique unit. This unit's kind of interesting. We're just going to move out of game for a second to show you this. So what I wanted to show you, the Fire Archer, it fires multiple arrows at units and uses a long-range attack against buildings. So if my understanding is correct there, it has a different type of attack to use against buildings, which is completely new. We'll see how strong it is against buildings as well, but I couldn't show that in the game. I felt like maybe you guys should read the text behind it. Then they also have a hero, the Sun Jian, which increases the movement speed of the cavalry in the area. So the movement speed is obviously like their area of effect bonus for their hero. Again, we'll talk about heroes in a second. Red Cliff Tactics is their first unique tech. Demolition ships and fire archers deal fire damage to ships and buildings. So that doesn't apply fully, but will help their fire archers, which could be a good option for Nilly here. Then Sitting Tiger, Traction Trebuchets, which are really cool, by the way. And Luchuan Trebuchet Fire, additional projectiles. That will be helpful on a map like Arena, because this map is typically heavy siege, all right? Team bonuses, houses build faster. Nilly's already been taking advantage of that. But those are the bonuses. We will learn as we go here. And we are both going for the same build with different civs. And we're going scout. I'm going scouts. And Nilly's doing the same. And I sniped his scout, but my scout's super weak as well. And feels like it's kind of destined to go down if I'm not able to get away, which I'm not. So, we're scout adapt, we're scout and boom. I am noticing that if I do have an extra food from chopping wood, it's very subtle if capture age is picking up on it. I don't know, like, can we look at the food count here and see it? I mean, that could just easily be an extra farm or two. Maybe that is actually that bonus coming into play. I guess Nilly did get extra food from building the barracks and the stable, though. So that would be plus 130. And then I still have a slight edge there. So maybe other civs aren't going to be able to compete as much. So it's a subtle eco bonus here. But you always have vills on wood, so I kind of like that. Plus, with going archers, like, you're going to have a lot on wood and very little on food, usually. So it's not too bad. I decide that to just get husbandry and outrun him because I feel like I can't afford everything at once. And I didn't want to go for the monastery right away. So I'm going for the TCs and the eco faster than he is. And he's going for those relics, which makes sense, especially when the relics are really close. But, heroes. Now, we're not going to see them yet. But let's talk about the heroes. I mean, I've got my concerns over hero units being in normal ranked game. The main basis of my concern, and I think you're going to be surprised by the main basis of my concern. You might think, like, you know, it's too much like other games, like Warcraft or League or whatever. And I think that's a good argument. Age of Empires has never had that. Keep it out of ranked. That's what a lot of people say. I get that. But, like, for me, my main issue with it is beyond everything else we may discuss is how are new players going to feel? How are returning players going to feel? It's going to be a big change, man. You come back to the game and there's, like, you're playing Britons and your opponent's got a hero unit with this massive circle around him, which will show depending on what your settings are, or this massive glowy unit. I think it could be really jarring for people. But a lot of changes can be jarring for people. So jarring changes aren't always bad. That's just kind of like my initial take. I know other people have said that they're not a big fan of it. They want to keep heroes out of ranked. So, yeah, I'll be looking for your comments there. But the thing that, like, balances it is you can't spam them, so you only can make one of them. And it's 500 food and 500 gold. Now, if you lose one, you can make a new one. But, you know, it's just, yeah, it'll be different. And at least in this case, we're going to see both of those heroes in action as we test these civilizations, right? Now, I knew I wasn't going to win the Relic War. But I wanted Nilly to invest as much as possible into getting this. And so snipe another monk. I don't know how many I've killed, maybe 2. He still only has 1 relic. And I've got TC 1, 2, 3 already up. Eco upgrades are going pretty good. Same for him. But his investment into the middle has delayed his TCs. So we've got a really solid eco now. And the more I get on wood, the more I should be able to get some extra food income. Watch the pathing here, by the way. I click them, and my unit goes backwards. That wasn't me. I had him on stand grounds. I told the unit to go after the monk, and the unit went backwards. And probably should have killed that monk. But I did add a monastery here to try and get 1 relic. But also, I thought healing would be nice, but then I lost my units, so it's kind of like, why did I do that? But we've got a nice Vil lead. Anytime someone has the relic advantage, their job is to hold. And anytime the person who has the eco advantage, you're thinking is you're going to have to push. Now, I'm able to convert a spear there. And Nilly's going to come forward with some Vils. So, you know, my thinking was, I'm just going to spam unique unit. I mean, what better way to test the game than just go unique unit? And Nilly was kind of thinking the same thing. And we're going to test out the unique techs as well. So Spearman line, gaining additional HP when near each other. I wanted to see how that works. I want to see how much HP that is. So I'm going to go for Coiled Serpent Array. And also Bolt Magazine. I mean, Archer line firing more additional projectiles, but also the War Chariots. I was kind of thinking the War Chariots would be really strong. So that's where my brain was at. But... Oh, did Nilly really not use the market this entire game? Maybe he did. But he built a market instead of a blacksmith, and you can tell he came to siege push me, but didn't have the blacksmith yet. He's got 3 relics right now. 3 relics. Here I go. My monks are exposed. Nilly wants the snipe. We do convert 1 light cav there. And I see he's going for a siege push here. So my plan, by the way, was already... I was kind of happy when I saw the siege push because my plan was to add more army to take the map and, like, middle castle for these extra golds. Kind of near, like, the polar bear. Maybe over here near his resources. But his plan is actually quite good as well because, like, he knows I have the eco lead. He doesn't want me to just be able to go imp, go for stronger units, and kill him. So he wants to keep me in castle age, essentially. Even if this push doesn't win in the game, it delays everything. Gives him a little bit more time to cook with his eco back at home. So I knew the Siege Workshop was here for some time. I was double checking. I don't get Bloodlines, so I thought about getting that, but not available for me. And my Civs Cavalry is not insanely strong. I don't think it's very good for them at all. I guess it's okay if you look at some of the blacksmith techs. But it's not great, but light cav still do the job against other light cav here. I didn't want to switch infantry when he had the siege. Obviously, still lots of eco we need to manage behind this. He's pushing. And he gets into my base as well. I didn't have Loom until just now. And Nilly's doing his best to get some damage in. We kill that villager there. Those light cav go in. He does land a shot. And my light cav now snipe the siege. And did I get forging? I could have sworn I researched forging. Also, Nilly's being a cheeky little, and he's just going to gate this, which is hilarious, actually. I recall seeing him build the gate, but I don't remember if that affects pathing for me in any ways. I saw pikemen, and I knew there's no way I'm going to claim this area and drop the castle here. I so badly wanted the castle outside, or, like, next to his buildings. Maybe I still could have tried it, but there's a chance that this is bad for me. And I know I have a bit of an eco lead because he's got the relics, but I've got the score. I didn't know how significant. So, in the end, it's like exactly what I said is still kind of the case for him. He's got 5 relics. I now have invested into light cav, which doesn't add a lot of value for me if he's got pikemen. And my first castle is here instead of here. So that's a really good job from him in that regard. Again, he's now got to think about game plan in terms of units. And the longer the game goes, better it is for him. He's got all 5 relics. Good farming eco behind. He also has the outpost here to see what I'm doing and can make decisions based on that. And there's our white feather guard, guys. And yes, they have a white feather on their forehead. White feather. There we go. And it looks like they're ready to guard. So very accurately named. And so my plan is to spam these. They've got some pierce armor to them. Obviously, that will increase as I get upgrades. But the base HP is 95. I want you to remember that. Obviously, once we get elite, that goes up. But it also goes up when units are near each other. Now, like, there's so many civs now in the game. The devs, if they want to release DLCs, are running out of ideas. I get that. I'm going to say the same thing about the near each other bonus that I said when the Georgians received the get extra attack while having more units in the group bonus. It feels like a lazy bonus. Like, with the Lithuanians, for example, you get relics, you get extra attack. You're actively, like, doing something in the game that takes, a task to get it. There, I kind of like that. But I guess, like, at a certain point, you need... They may run out of ideas. But I'm not a huge fan of, you know, just make more units, put them in the group, and you gain more HP. That to me is... It's not, like, really strategic at all, I guess. But we'll see. Like, all of this, a lot of my takes here is I'm going to give you my thoughts and everything, and then it's a we'll wait and see thing. Because I think that's kind of important. The DLC's not even out yet. Of course, curious in your take. The chickens need to be quieter. I actually spoke to a dev about shutting up the chickens. And if you haven't seen Chicken Nothing yet, you will. And they're loud, dude. Well, especially when you have, you know, 20,000 of them, but... Alright, so here we go. I'm getting conscription. I've got the white feather guards out. Nilly knows this is coming. Over on his side, he's getting conscription. He's got Halb, which seems like a decent enough play because of what I've opened with. And my hero is on the way. Liu Bei is on the way. 500 gold, 500 food. I will be honest, I accidentally clicked this instead of the unique tech. And then I was like, oh, I have a hero now. So that was not actually intentional. Nearly complete Sitting Tiger. So Sitting Tiger's in. Traction Trebs and Luchuan's Trebuchets fire additional projectiles. So he'll be planning on the Traction Trebs. And he still behind in Vils, still behind in Res Collected, but has those relics. And he needs to hold. And here are the fire archers. Which... That's hilarious to me, because how is the arrow not continue? How is it not burning and getting close to their hands? I mean, this isn't a complaint. A lot in Age of Empires is never realistic, okay? But that's a funny one to me. Apparently, fire doesn't consistently burn. I guess if you have like a house or a structure that's on fire, the house doesn't burn down. That's consistent with the way the fire works in the rest of the game. So here I go. He is researching some blacksmith techs on the front. So I guess I will potentially delay some techs. And I wanted to see what he's going for here. I saw Halb. Now, I'm going for war chariots now. Because that I have a unique bonus for. The war chariots, I fire the additional projectiles. I've never used a war chariot before. They're not cheap. But there they are. They kind of look like a Ratha. Look at that. 65 HP. 8+1 attack. And there's some of the additional stats there. They felt very slow to me. Felt very clunky. We're still building up. I've gone for a crazy boom here. 150 Vils. I have no relics, so I'm on the clock, but I'm doing what I can. And Neely's doing what he can to be annoying. And he built outposts everywhere, so he could see that I'm doing this. I assumed my war chariots would kill these, like, right away. They seem to fire very slow, though, guys. So, I was not initially very impressed with these. Especially considering, you know, they're slow. They're 65 HP. Didn't feel very strong. And then I saw these bad boys. Look at these traction trebs. Look at them slinging. Oh, they slinging it. I don't know who's controlling it. But they know how to sling. And look at that. Bam! So you've got 14 range on the traction trebuchets. Now, does this civ get siege engineers? Where is that? Should that not be a university somewhere? Miscellaneous somewhere? These are other things. What are those? Okay. Is that a spoilers? I don't, maybe that's from another civ we haven't covered yet. No siege engineers. Yeah, so I know I checked in game. I do get siege engineers. So, big tech coming in. Bolt magazine for me now. That is the war chariots and archer line extra projectile. So keep an eye on the projectiles now once I fire. If I fire. Yeah, so extra projectile. I didn't really see that much extra. But I had to make it out of here before I die. Badly. To the traction trebuchets. Okay, so my hero's out. Now, I'm going to test something here. And on all these casts, you could tell I'm still getting used to this. I hope that's okay. But, you know, I'm about to get Elite White Feather Guard. I've got the hero. This heals them, right? So you could see that healing, the regeneration. Oh, that's the regeneration rate for the unit, not the healing. But this is going to look very ugly, guys. But I think this is actually helpful to add the circles. Where can I do that? Add the circles. Show range zones for selection. Okay. Does that work for this? Okay, so Capture Age is not actually set up for that yet. So unfortunately, I can't show you, but I can tell you the zone is a little bit less than this castle. So you've got this zone. It can actually show in-game. Here, let me actually show you what it looks like in-game for me. One sec. Okay, so this is in-game. So you've got this zone that you have on screen if you have the zone indicators on like you would for the castles. And that's always there. And then heroes, their affects everything that is within this zone, okay? It's pretty self-explanatory. I just can't show you while casting, so felt the need. Okay, so just pretend that's there at all times. That's very different for me. It felt like I was like in a completely different game. But we spent 500 food, 500 gold on that bad boy, so this guy could do his thing. Now, the Elite Feather Guard, they have the regeneration rate showing here because they're... Oh, that's interesting. Because they're in the group, right? And I do have the 14+1 on my traction trebuchets. So I have more range than Nilly. And he's got those fire archers there. The fire archers have a crazy bar on them there, which might have something to do with one of their projectiles. Anyways, we're going to charge in here. We've got the White Feather Guard, the Fire Archers, the Halbs, and the Siege. And here we go, baby. And I said, go, War Chariots. You're pretty expensive. Let's do work here. Do you guys see my hero at all? Well, he's back here. He's a coward. I'm just not used to that. Not used to needing that. So there's no really additional effect here. It's kind of interesting how Capture Age says this unit had 103 HP. Maybe Capture Age doesn't reflect the HP increase. We'll keep an eye on that. Actually, that's a very good point. Capture Age may not be reflecting this. Let me do an additional test here. Again, apologies, but I think in game it's different. Okay, guys, so yeah, I'm correct. So this, you could see here in game that these units have 106 HP. Now this can get higher. Like this one's have 107 HP, and basically it's based on the amount of units around, which is what this little indicator means at the bottom left. So unfortunately, that may not fully show while casting with Capture Age program, because we're still, in beta and whatnot. But as you look through the group, this guy's 102, this one's 107, some of these are 106, and there will be other examples as well where it's much lower. This group is 102, 103, 102. So that number goes up and down depending on how many you have in the group. And the max that I saw was 111 in-game. All right. Wasn't expecting so many things not to show here. But yes, it seems to be the case that it just will not show, because that's just, completely new. I'm sure Capture Age is having fun trying to get ready for this. So we've got Halb and Fire Archer. Look at the Fire Archer attack there. What? That's crazy. Okay, and you can see their range is mixed in there as well. I think that's probably the range that they can only use against buildings. Right now, it looks like the range is 7 or 8. And the Siege, as it always is in Arena, is super valuable. And my White Feather Guards here, my Elite White Feather Guards, they're guarding big time. Honestly, Nilly kind of gave me the idea to do exactly what I did here. Just dive. Just dive. Snipe the Siege. The Siege is the most important thing. It felt to me like my units were just so freaking cheap, though. Like, I've got a crazy economy at 150 vils, but my units are really freaking cheap. I should have a hero out there somewhere. I did a better job at controlling the hero over time. So you can see my heroes in there. Look how tanky he is. So regenerates, also super tanky. You obviously don't want that unit to be taking a lot of fights because they're on the front line and you can lose it, and that's 1,000 resources down the drain. Nilly has his hero right next to it in there. So Nilly's hero is right there. And he's going to use his hero on the front lines to snipe the Siege, which isn't too bad. But my unit seems absolutely insane. 7 pierce armor. He's got 9 attack. He's doing 2 damage a hit against the unique unit. And Nilly's kind of crumbling here. And so I was just kind of thinking a little bit like, what more can Nilly mix in this situation? See, Scorpions, in theory, would sound very good. But I don't think Scorpions work if the Traction Trebs with 15 range are out there. So, there he's kind of stuck. I actually think his own infantry would be a really interesting idea. Because my unit doesn't have a lot of melee armor. Obviously, he already has the halbs. But that's just my thought. Anyways, we've had a crazy boom this game. 150 vills for the most part against 130. And we've been able to bring in a lot of this additional stone and gold around the map. And it's becoming pretty clear to me. I just got to take out these castles. And we can take Nilly down. And the Traction Trebs are getting sniped. It's really awkward to engage against these things. I think it's just a lot of it's I'm not really used to the attack rate of any of the units we're using. Or, yeah, just all of it's new. So getting a feel for that, getting a feel for how these projectiles work too, kind of complicated. But Nilly just can't deal with his comp. And again, like, we're working with... My HP is over 100 on these. They've got 7 Pierce. And with my hero, which again, I'm getting a slightly better job at, healing them as well, which may actually be... Maybe that's actually shown once some of the weak units come in. It's very solid comp. I really think the biggest thing about the comp, though, is the cost of the units themselves, which is obviously one of the main ways to balance a unit. Devs are kind of known for some of the new units being very strong at first. Not always, but usually are. Wow, Nilly's hero, it dies. Goes down, death to the hero. My hero's still there. Yeah, you see my HP increasing now? So that is because of my hero doing all of that. And Nilly has gold over here remaining. My Traction Trebuchets will treb that down. And I've got enough stone for another castle. I figured, why not? When there's like 2k gold, I need to get over here ASAP. Nilly makes the switch now, and he's going to try Hussar. Because, I mean, what has been happening, what he's been doing hasn't really been working. But it does feel like even if Hussar is kind of a decent choice for him now, it might be a little too late. He's missing the armor upgrade for the Hussar. So they're very weak in that regard. And he doesn't really have the space or time, right? It loses some eco. I gain access to this gold. And my hero, still there. Still healing from a pretty long distance away. And my Traction Trebuchets are wild. I said in another cast that I didn't think that these were that good against units. But that was on an open map. I think these Traction Trebuchets could be really solid against units. But maybe that's not the case. It feels like a mix of a Mangano and a Treb, right? So clearly they're a little weaker against buildings than Trebuchet. Which, I mean, a lot of that should be the case because of where you produce them from. You produce them from the Siege Workshop. But yeah, it's very, very strong here. And I'm feeling pretty good about my situation. There's my hero with his giant swords. This guy's got the forearm strength of a god. And yeah, game ends. Ended up being pretty snowbally there. And afterwards, Nilly and I, of course, discussed it. Nilly was like, what do I make? What do I make? Feels like fire archers aren't very good there. And yeah, I think like he underestimated the amount of pierce armor that the feather archers are going to have. All right, guys. So like again, another look. You've got the 115 HP. You've got 111 HP. So I don't know if there's actually a cap on how much HP you can get on these. But 150, I said earlier, I think 111 was the highest. There's different amounts of HP ever changing throughout, just depending on how many I have in the group. And then these back here don't have a lot in the group. So they're just like 101, which I think is one higher than what the base HP is going to be. But tech tree wise for his civ, like what should he have tried? Now knowing what we know, again, I'm hesitant to say anything ranged unit wise. I'm hesitant to say Scorpions because of the Traction Trebuchets being out, but he could have maybe considered going cavalry actually, This unit says strong versus infantry. Should be good against my unique unit then, as it's infantry. My infantry has low melee armor. He could maybe spam these from his stable instead of going fire archers and hope they're really good overall. I think, like, the HP is kind of an issue. I'm only seeing 90 HP. That will go up with bloodlines, but I think that kind of makes me think it's awkward. I was thinking also John Swordsman, but there's no upgrade to go beyond that. It says it's strong versus archer units, which is not what the opponent had. Could consider champion. Champion straight up in combination with some other things is always pretty good. But yeah, Nilly maybe just hit a little bit of a wall in terms of what his tech can do. His civ can do. We'll see. Arena can be like that sometimes. But I just felt it was worth another look here. His movement speed, it didn't really seem to be that noticeable for me with his hero. I think he also remade the hero a couple times as well. So I just think we had a really good boom, and we got the job done due to that. Yeah, just final look through the tech tree here. I know I didn't do this in some of my other casts, but I think it's helpful just to get another glance at it. War Chariot, man. What on earth is the War Chariot supposed to do for me? It felt so bad. It said rapid fire attack, but cannot attack at close range. Has long reload time. Can switch to a barrage mode that covers more area, but is less accurate. You know, I didn't use the barrage mode. I used the focus fire mode. That will maybe need to do more testing on. My feeling, though, after that is like, why would I ever make a War Chariot if I can make a traction trebuchet? I guess there's a big cost difference, but in an arena game, the traction trebuchet felt very, very, very strong there. Also, if he would have switched to Cav in that game, I could have maybe switched to Help. So we maybe had some other options there. Final takes. Feeling on the heroes. I don't know, man. I worry about precedent. If, you know, a couple civs get heroes, then the rest of the new civs may get heroes. Then the game... I worry about the game not being recognizable long-term. I worry about it being frustrating for people. I worry about it not being a welcoming environment. I am still willing to see how things play out with it. But like this combination of getting extra HP while just simply having more units and then also having a hero that's healing everything. Maybe a bit of an old man here. Of course, I've been around this game for a ton of time now, right? But that's a lot of change to stomach all at once. Have we strayed too far from the light? Is it going too far? Is this no longer Age of Empires feel? I'll let you guys decide and give input on that. I'm still willing to just see how things play out. And obviously, I'll probably change some opinions as we go. But that is it. That is the Wu and the Shu. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. And more videos to come, whether it's reviewing some of these civilizations in the upcoming DLC or some really fun casts. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I you know, sometimes when I dedicate like a solid week of like grinding beyond my typical routine to share things with my audience, right? I'm just reminded of like, man, there's a lot of people that are actually really excited for this, and it's really motivating, and I feel very lucky. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for the love and support. Hope you have a good one. See you in the next video.